Hi, my name is Zoe Pierce. I know we're all going through tough times right now while being locked inside, but it's times like these that help unite us as a country and as a world. I would know this situation involving COVID 19 is an odd one, but when we look back into the past, we can see other struggles like this that have brought us together. The struggle that I'm specifically talking about is war. War has this odd little power of bringing us all together to fight as a whole for what we believe in. In my speech, I will be discussing how war has an effect on us as citizens and how governments around the world could contribute to war, making it more directed towards its original target. My main group for this speech is governments around the world, but for us as students in this class, we can enact change as well. We could send in letters to our officials or post photos on social media. Although this may not seem like much, change always needs to start from somewhere. My main argument stems from how war is conducted by governments all around the world. When we go into war, we always have a clear idea in mind of what we want the outcome to be. Typically, those who stick to their original plan achieve those goals that were set in the first place. This can be seen in the Second World War after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Our country immediately set out to help those in Europe while also trying to destroy Japan for their wrongful actions against our country. When we finally dropped the atomic bombs over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, a couple of years later after the war had started, Japan retreated from World War II, ending our conflict with Japan. We as a nation, in my opinion, succeeded by sticking to our original goal that was set out. But instances like these that have occurred in World War II with the US and Japan don't always happen. Countries often get sidetracked and mismanaged. They become overwhelmed by what they have involved themselves in. You could say that they have played all their cards in the deck, yet they are still looking for more cards to play. For example, I want you to imagine one of your loved ones is enlisted in the military. As soon as a war starts, they are rounded up and shipped off to the country that ours is fighting against. Our intentions as a nation are to destroy those in the other country that have wronged us. But after multiple years at war, your loved one still remains across the sea in a foreign country. They are fighting for what your country believes is right, but soon you receive a letter saying that they have passed an act of combat. Later in the year, your country announces that even though they declared war on the foreign country for a distinct reason, their intentions for that war have changed. They have admittedly shown that they have begun seeking out things that were not intended, such as natural resources or government power or reign over another country. The government overall has misled you in what their true conquest was, and through all of this, your loved one has died in the war. But what was the real purpose of them being there? Did your loved one die for the right actions, for the original intentions of the country? Or did they die for the actions that your country diverged into after the war had begun? A situation such as this one is more common than you may think. Many countries become mismanaged and fall into a place they had not originally intended. An example of this is when the US entered Afghanistan after the attacks in the World Trade Center. They originally went out to seek the terrorists that have harmed them, but soon became sidetracked. The United States government became consumed with the power that oil had held. Ultimately, in the end, the way they viewed the Middle East changed the way the war was enacted. They saw this as a way to gain the thing they most desired, as by changing the way of the war. As for us as American people, we were unaware of the change of plans for a very long time, and when we did come to a realization that this was occurring, many became overfeared with rage and sorrow that this has happened to our country. Many of the soldiers were fighting for us and dying for a cause that we as people didn't believe was just. They were dying for unaffiliated reasons for the real intention of the war. And that's the sad part of war. We never really know what we're involving ourselves in until it's too late. The problem, overall, that all governments face around the world is they have no true idea about what they are going to incur while in war. While dealing with the problems that pop up while conducting war is necessary, one should not divulge themselves into the point where they are consumed with this new issue, such as an oil crisis occurs, fix it, then go back to their original plan. Don't divulge yourself into that, because this could lead to deaths of thousands of soldiers and innocent lives in the country that you're attacking in. Governments need to ask themselves, what are they doing this? Like, why are they doing this? What will be the outcome if we do these things? Overall, governments around the world need to set out a distinct plan for their course of action before going to war. By sticking to this plan, thousands of lives may be spared and the country may become successful in their endeavors. While I know most or all governments have an original plan, they often derive from the true goal that was set and dig a hole that is so deep that they cannot crawl out of. Stick to the original plan and see what kind of success it will bring you, yourself, and others involved in the war, while also sparing countless lives that could have been lost to the government becoming sidetracked. Thank you. If you have any further questions, please be sure to comment them.